There are so many lessons we can learn from shows already out there, and we hope that we can leave here as better storytellers.
Maybe.
This week on the show, we've watched the first 3 episodes of Wonder Egg Priority.
And we're here to give you our first impressions.
Then we'll be talking about episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Seraph of the End, which is our current anime book club series that we're watching every week.
And then we wrap things up with some other topics.
But if you
don't know already, you're already listening to the Sunovageek podcast.
Son of a bitch!
Todd beat you to
Son of a gun!
For those of you who are just caught on that wild train ride, Spen was telling me how excited he was to just talk about that line. That's his favorite line of every intro.
I love saying it.
And I wanted to take it away from him because it's so satisfying and delicious.
But you get the son of a geek every time.
I don't get to say it anymore. It's just a pre-recording.
You suck. How you doing, Zio?
I'm great, Spen. How are you doing?
Fantastic. That's actually probably the best intro we've done where we like introduce each other without even really realizing that we're doing it. Possibly.
Oh my God, you're right.
Well done.
I know. Good job.
Round of applause all around.
Yes.
Toll, if you can add that in as a sound effect.
Yes, thank you, Toll.
He doesn't edit the podcast.
He doesn't even listen.
I dropped my phone.
Yeah.
And there's a crack in the, there's like a little indent in the side of the screen.
Okay.
And now every time I go to turn it on, I have to push the power button like anywhere between 3 and like 20 times.
Oh man.
And then whenever I get a text, the bottom half of the screen, it flashes green. It's pretty awesome.
That's not the direction I was thinking you were going to go with that story.
And to make it more exciting,
okay.
$350 to fix the screen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know it doesn't cost $350?
Listening to this podcast?
Yeah.
'Cause it's free?
That's right. Look at that amazing transition.
What were you actually going to say?
That. I was actually going to say that.
Oh, man. We're just in sync.
Yes, we're perfectly in sync. I mean, which makes perfect sense because the second we saw Wonder Egg Priorities like poster of just a yellow paper with an egg, we were like, we're really intrigued by this. We really want to check this out. And then we read the synopsis and we really were excited for it to come out.
There was no synopsis.
Wait, what? There wasn't? I thought we looked up a synopsis for it.
So I believe we did this during the that 3-part podcast. We were talking about all the new shows coming out this season. And originally there was no synopsis, and I think we got a synopsis for it later. Oh, maybe.
I don't remember. Anyways, whoever is our new fact checker, they can go check.
I believe we fired Smiley, and that is... Did Siggs get hired for it?
Is Siggs?
Or no, he's my assistant.
Yeah, he's your assistant.
I don't know.
All right, everybody, we're hiring for a new fact checker. So if you would like to be our fact checker...
Fact checker.
That's what I said.
Yeah, well, it didn't sound like that over there.
Oh, thanks. We're looking for a fact checker. So if you want to be our fact checker... Please comment down below saying you want to be our fact checker. I still don't hear the C in it. Well, maybe you need to listen better, Spen.
Okay.
Anyways, Wonder Egg Priority. We watched it. We watched the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, we're gonna give some kind of brief information about it that's spoiler free for you. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can kind of listen here a little bit and then bugger off and come back later after you've watched it. Hey, this is Spencer from Editing the Podcast. We tried, but we couldn't figure out a way to talk about it without giving spoilers, so this is what you get.
So what are we doing? Are we erasing all of this? Are we continuing?
I thought it was going to be really easy to talk about it without giving any spoilers, but after what we've just talked about, there's a fair amount going on, even though it doesn't seem like there's much going on in the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the show, I don't think there's really any way that we can talk about it without giving spoilers.
So that we're 12 minutes into this, and we said you're not going to talk about spoilers. Now we're going to talk about spoilers. So if you're not here for spoilers, go away.
Yeah, we're now exiting our spoiler free.
So Wonder Egg Priority, man, it's so good. I really liked it. Like the second it started, the animation is top level.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It definitely goes above and beyond your standard anime in the sense of no scene feels still.
Well, because there's a lot of shows where they have dialogue between characters and they'll have like a stationary shot and then they'll just have like the characters looking at each other and the mouth will move and then the other mouth will move.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the standard thing we come to expect with some animes.
I mean, animes in general, I've noticed over the last few years have definitely been evolving, and they have moving shots now and stuff like that, or like the characters kind of shaking around or something. But this feels like a high budget movie kind of animation style. Like when I saw this, I naturally think about my favorite anime, Your Name. While I think Your Name is definitely more
Oh, it's way
beautiful,
better.
this feels higher budget than a standard TV show.
I wouldn't put it quite to the same level as Your Name. It's
Well,
definitely on the
no.
top, like the high end.
I'm just trying to give a level to set an expectation to. Like it goes.
If 10 is Your Name and 1 is X Arm, it's about it's about like I'd give it like an 8 leaning into a 9.
Yeah, definitely. It's right up there. It's really good. The animation alone, like, it has this sort of like it's hard. It's hard to kind of describe. Like one of the better animes I've seen as well recently was like the new Digimon Tri series. It has more of a realistic, grounded approach to the animation, which is very different from the original Digimon cartoon. This kind of feels like that, but more polished.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's no cheat scenes in it.
Yeah, no, they definitely, there's no cheat scenes at all. They really go all out for everything. I guess maybe technically, what are they called? Those little red face things?
Red face things. Oh, well, each character has a different name for them.
Do they?
Or so far, anyways.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to call them red face things. Those are probably like the smallest budget of the entire show.
But even then, I feel I really like the way that they're done because they have this, they almost don't really fit in with the world with how they kind of move.
Yeah.
It adds to the otherworldly aspect of them.
No, I agree. What I love about...
I think they're all 3D, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all 3D animation. At first,
but it's hard to notice it.
Really? See, I noticed it right away, but then I kind of just accepted it and like it felt a part of the world to some capacity. Like this weird, like supernatural world that they're kind of in.
Well, they move really fast and it's almost like they skip frames.
And they're laughing. They're just constantly laughing. It's super unsettling.
Yeah, it fits really well.
You know, I thought when I first saw like a poster for this, like a real poster other than just the egg, my initial thoughts of this anime is like, this is going to be like a feel-good anime.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a casual one where I was going to be like, this is amazing. And Zion's going to be like, this is okay.
And I didn't expect to get as dark and heavy as it did. Like, it has a very dark and heavy undertone to the anime, but it kind of keeps it light and airy in some areas.
Yeah, it's dark, but it's not.
But not over the top, like, light. That's what I love most about it. Like, this anime does not try to be comedic. It doesn't have those over-the-top moments that I hate so much. It's got a very specific story it wants to tell. And it's hard to kind of see what the story is so far, but I'm pretty confident it's about dealing with grief. I think that's kind of the overall point that this show is trying to make. Because the egg is what kind of creates a person, but that person is somebody who committed suicide. Everybody in this realm is somebody who committed suicide, I've noticed so far.
Yes. Everyone that they've had to save is someone that's killed themselves.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, are the people they're trying to save, are they statues too, like their best friends? Because there's someone's best friend somewhere, right? Or not, maybe not best friends, but someone important to them?
I think so. I think everybody that's in that world is someone that is trying to be saved or at some point was trying to be saved by someone else.
Okay.
But they did also hint that we have to help, that it hinted in the first episode because that girl comes out and kind of explains to Ai how the game works and what needs to be done. And she mentions that whereas I will survive, all the injuries that she takes in that world are real.
Yeah, they follow her.
Yeah, so I think if they fail to save that person dies and cannot be saved by anyone else.
Right.
Like that person, they're like gone.
Well, all right, I think we should recap each episode and then, because I have some theories about this that I'd like to talk about.
Well, the one thing I want to quickly mention is I think you're wrong about what the show is about. And I think it's more about the characters coming to terms and accepting their own faults and what led to the demise of their friend. Because
Really?
everyone that's there right now, they had someone that was close to them that killed themselves, but it wasn't direct. I hate saying that it was their fault because it's not, but they were
They
maybe
believe
like
it's
their
their
lack
fault.
of actions. Yeah. But part of their actions led to it happening.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I still think it's about grief and dealing with grief, though. I'll kind of explain why a little bit, but I kind of want to talk about these episodes kind of in sequential order that we watch them,
Yeah.
because each one brings up different perspectives for me. So the first episode obviously follows I completely, and then she gets her egg, she throws the egg, and it has this one girl, and that girl seems to know what's going on. So that means
Mhm.
she's been through this before.
Yeah.
Which means other people have saved her. So the people who committed suicide are kind of like in this endless loop of like a purgatory almost, where they constantly get born out of this egg, and they have however long the time frame is to survive and get out to possibly be saved by their person.
Yeah, because I
Now,
believe you have to save your friend.
yeah. So does do you think that only people who have a close person who committed suicide can access this world? Or do you think this is kind of like an open dimension that anybody can get into?
I think it's only the people connected to it through an event.
Okay. Makes
I
sense.
don't, but at the same time, I don't think they'll ever explain it.
Man, I really want to know about the world. The world is just so fascinating. Because like they don't really show the world, they just kind of appear in places.
I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes they've left, or no, she leaves to go
Yeah,
to a
she always
location to buy the
leaves.
eggs.
Yeah.
But this other dimension world thing, I believe, is in their dreams while they're sleeping, because of what
But
happens in the third episode.
really, because I don't know. I feel like the second episode kind of says opposite of what you believe there.
Why is that?
Well, because like in the first episode, she goes to a location and then she finds out she's at a school. Does she wake up then? I don't remember. Does she wake up? But anyways, what makes me think that is the girls. They talk about how on the second episode when she makes her friend, Niru, when she makes her friend Niru, they talk about how the alternate days.
That's the alternate days is only for going and buying eggs.
Is it?
Yeah, she wanted to alternate days so that they wouldn't see each other. That way they'd buy eggs on different days. That was all just about buying eggs.
Well, then
'Cause in
if
the
it's
third
only when they
episode-
sleep, doesn't
Well, but
Does
in
it-
the third episode, her friend stays the night, and then when I wakes up, she wakes up in her friend's, or when she goes to sleep, she wakes up in her friend's thing, and that voice tells them that because they fell asleep at the same time, their worlds synchronized.
Okay, you're right. I'm an idiot. You're right. You're right.
Oh,
So
you're not an idiot.
they enter it through
Well-
the dream world.
In the first episode, the way it's set up is it makes it seem like she has to go there, or she has to
Okay.
physically go to a location for it.
So they go to a location to buy the eggs.
Yeah.
And then they fall asleep. But if they fall asleep at the same time in the same vicinity or just at the same time?
I don't know. He just said because they fell asleep at the same time. He didn't say anything about them.
So
being
maybe they
close
can all be
together
in their
or
own bedrooms and fall asleep at the same time and wake up together? Or do you think they have to be near each other?
I think they have to be near each other as well.
That would make more sense. I mean, arguing the semantics and logistics of a dream state. But that just feels better. Feels right, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, you said you wanted to go through them kind of like episode by episode.
yeah, so the first episode she gets the egg, she winds up in a school, and then she like sees how there are existing people in this world almost, because you look at those two girls and like their faces are all like pixelated out. That's so creepy.
So you know how in the other episodes there was that boss they had to fight?
Yeah.
And how the boss started out as that pixelated version. I think that is the person directly related to the death, Whereas I think in the first world, I think those were two girls that really bullied the first, like the egg girl. I think they were the ones that kind of drove her to the suicide, just kind of like how
You
in
mean
the
the
second
egg
world it
girl?
was.
You mean the girl who came out of the egg?
Yeah, the girl who came out of the egg.
Oh, okay.
I
Are
so
you
I think
sure? Because she was a gymnast, and she said she committed suicide because of her coach. Because that was the
no,
bad guy.
that was not the first world. That was
Oh,
the
dang it.
so the first girl was the one that came out and she knew everything about the worlds or whatever it is and explained it all to I.
Oh, that's
And
right. They
then
didn't. That's right.
they didn't fight
Okay.
a boss in that one. It was just surviving till the end.
That one was surviving till the end.
But I
But
thought for sure in that one there was those two girls. Wasn't there?
there were two girls. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just don't remember them chasing after that moment, I guess. Because
No,
I do remember seeing a girl. I guess I didn't correlate it to be the same girl from the two girls in there.
no, and I think because of the way she worded stuff, because it was I's first time in the world, I think it gives her like an easy one.
Yeah, okay. And then the second one is when she finds out, like, you can't just survive, you have to fight the boss to be able to save your friend.
Yes.
So surviving isn't just enough. Surviving will just allow them to move on, but to work towards credit to saving her best friend, they have to fight.
Yeah, which we've learned isn't all about just her beating the boss, but it's helping the person that died overcome their
Correct. They're
yeah, their
they're
trauma.
like antithesis.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the first episode was really good. Like it caught me off guard. Like I said, it started off pretty slow and everything, and then when it hit this world, I was like, okay, whatever. It's interesting concept, but I didn't know where it was going or what it was doing. And then when she hatches, I love the toilet paper part though, where the toilet paper starts talking to her and like goads her to throw the egg.
Yeah, well, because that voice shows up in like different forms based on the area that she's in.
Yeah. I just thought it was super funny. But then it hatches, a person came out, and the person's showing them, and then they run into that girl. And when that girl's sitting there chanting at him, I thought it was just going to be like this weird psychological thing, but she throws that axe, and then it cuts that girl's arm, and blood pours out. I was like, holy shit, this is significantly darker than I anticipated. And then that's when it just went wild and started like going crazy with, stabbing and fighting these monsters and then trying to survive. That hooked me, and from there I watched the next two episodes like immediately. Like I stayed awake from that because I told you how I've been falling asleep watching anime. It's been creating a bad habit.
Yeah, you didn't fall asleep watching this one.
I did, but once I made it past that initial point, I was
I meant after that point.
Yeah, after that point, it just, I like
what was
how
really sweet is at the end when she's no longer in the dream world.
Yeah,
in the morning she goes downstairs and her injuries
are there.
She still has them.
Yeah. And what I also like is they didn't just add that on there for no reason. So like I like how they unfold the story in the sense like you don't know what's going on. You know there's some weird supernatural thing happening. You know this egg is something special. Then it hatches. Yeah. Excuse me. It hatches, dangerous stuff happens. And you don't really know what it's about still until she finds a statue of her friend. And when she finds that statue, then you learn that her friend committed suicide. Like, you don't find that out till towards the end of the episode.
That's right.
So it added that whole nother level of
It's a good thing we didn't spoil that for people.
Yeah. But I love how that kind of changed the entire, like, perspective of the anime. It really lets you know, like, what it's trying to do and where it's maybe going. And I love that. It's a great first episode. Animation's gorgeous, and it did a solid job.
Yeah, God, I had to stop. I had to pause there for a moment because there were some things I want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about them until after the third episode.
Okay, well, let's rush through the second episode. So the first episode, that was all there, and then she kind of has a grasp of what's going on, but she doesn't know that she has to fight bosses yet. So they get to the second episode, and they have like that gymnast girl, and at that time, she now has a weapon that she's aware of, like that pen.
Well, because that was originally held by the first girl. and then she threw the pen to I at the end of the first episode.
Yeah. And that
Yeah,
became
so
her
now
weapon.
I know. Yeah, so then I took it, and now she uses it.
And I love how it becomes like a giant mace. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Although I have this cool little theory that she can still push the colored pens down. And when she pushes it down, maybe it changes into a new weapon.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Different forms or it does different things.
Yeah. And then for those people who may be listening to me when we're rambling about how great the show is, I always talk about how I don't like shonen and I don't care about the action too much. It's not that I'm against it. It's just this anime doesn't focus on the action. Like its entire focus is about these characters. It just has action in it. And
Yeah,
because the
well,
action scenes don't last long.
no, but what's different about these action scenes is they're emotionally driven.
Yes.
Like the drive isn't about just seeing a fight or for them just fighting for the sake of fighting. It's about survival. There's so much stuff kind of like pitted against her being able to overcome these things that the fight actually means more than just like, wow, this is a cool fight.
Yeah, it's more of like overpowering and things like that. It has a really strong like moral story behind it, and that's what's the most engaging part of this anime. But the second episode, yeah, they show the second character, Niru, and she's very cold and off-putting to I and doesn't like her, and I is trying to be her friend or at least learn from her. And then they kind of go through some things together and they become friends at the end.
Yeah, I like how the first episode sets it up where it doesn't feel like we're gonna meet any other characters.
Right.
But then the second episode, you just bump into her while she's buying eggs, and then you're just like, oh, wait a minute, that there's other people going through the same thing.
Yeah, who is this one? And I've noticed so far they're all like preteens or teenagers. There aren't any adults yet.
No.
I mean, there's adults that were like the bad guys, like the gym coach or whatever, but
I don't think there's gonna be any adults going through all this stuff.
yeah.
I think it's all gonna be just teenagers.
Now, do you think that is a due to the type of world it is, or that's just the choice of the people who created the show?
I feel like it's mostly a choice by the people who created the show, but I think it fits in a decent theme.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like if there's like adults in there as well, it just feels like it would change some sort of dynamic.
That's
Whereas
fair.
instead it's these teenagers that are still learning and adapting,
And
and
they still have like
trying to find their
this
place in the world. But now they're
I feel like it's imagination driven as well. You
Mhm.
know, kind of like you can accept all these terms and these rules and these guidelines in this world because it's the imagination of a child kind of controlling it. As if there was adults, it'd probably feel more realistic and heavy. Because this has fantastical moments that these characters do and everything else like that. They seem to have like more agility and energy and just different capabilities in this realm, which is something a child would kind of imagine, you know?
Yeah, and I feel if there was an adult in like an adult character, that was one of the main characters, the only way it would fit properly is if it was like a very childish adult. So it's just easier to keep it as
Yeah.
teenagers.
I mean, we'll see as we go. We're only 3 episodes in, but I'm in it for the ride and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get through episode 2. I think episode 2 is probably the weakest of the 3 episodes. It gives us a lot of information and introduces another character, but I remember episode 3 and 1 the most.
Okay.
Because episode 3 I really like. I liked episode 3 a lot.
See, I think I found episode 3 to be the weakest, but that's also because I really don't like the third girl.
You don't like Rika?
I don't like her.
I do like her.
I just find
enough.
her annoying.
So I think that's a front.
I think so too, but I don't know. I struggle with that kind of personality of characters.
Really? See, I can completely understand, but I think that's a very deliberate choice that this girl is making. So this girl seems to be all high and mighty and uppity, and she was a part of like this girl sing band, but you notice she doesn't go home because I think she might be homeless. And then at the same time, I think she's hiding a lot. She's very obviously depressed, but she's putting on a big, strong, happy face.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wants to overcome it and doesn't want to show her weakness and things like that.
Yeah, there's
And
definitely a lot of stuff going. Even if she isn't homeless, there's a lot of family issues she's probably dealing with.
regardless, yeah, I mean, they do a really good job at showing underneath her skin without like giving it all away.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked it a lot. And she's got a badass fucking weapon, man. The two half scissor blades, those are cool.
It is pretty sweet.
But she also seems like she's been doing this for a while. Like she seemed very skilled in that world. Like she caught on quick or knew what she was doing. So I'm curious, like how long has she been doing it? How long has this other girl been doing it? You only kind of follow I in her journey, but these other girls are following her, but they seem to have more experience and knowledge of it all.
I feel like they've been doing it for a bit longer. I don't want to say it's been a long time.
Yeah,
It's hard to tell with what's the third, Rika?
Rika. Yeah,
It's hard to tell with her anyways, because even if she was brand new to it, she'd be going off as if she knew everything.
true, true. But I was just going off of like her actions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like when they were fighting all those creatures, she was fighting pretty good, and immediately as like it seemed like I didn't quite get into it till later in that third episode where I was really struggling with the fighting aspect, and then she like realized what she's fighting for. She has to fight for her friend, and then she goes all out.
No, that's true. That is very true.
So I mean, I think she's definitely been there for a while, probably doing her thing, and knows what she's getting into. Besides, she's also like a cutter. So
Well, I think that's why her weapon is the scissors.
interesting. What do you think? Did they show? I don't remember. Did they show Neru's weapon?
No, we haven't seen her in the world yet.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Because I want to guess that everybody's weapon is related to.
Is personal
um,
for them?
Yeah, it's related to them personally in some sort of way.
Okay.
Whether
So-
it and I think it's connected to them more than just something that they're interested in, but something that's that's just related to them in some, like the scissors and her cutting herself. I don't know how the pen, but I hope the pen's maybe she's something about her writing or something where it just like the pen has more of a meaning behind it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see. Very interesting though. But I love the how each episode has like a story, like they have their mission. Now I'm curious, do you think it's gonna get to a point where it seems like the one girl has a crap ton of eggs? So do you think there's a point where they're gonna try to do multiple eggs and then feel overwhelmed? And maybe
Oh,
they're gonna lose
100%.
somebody. Yeah, I think it's gonna get real dark real soon. I think they're gonna introduce a couple more characters or something.
Well,
Um,
have you seen Medica Magica?
no.
Oh damn, that'd be a great. I think because that was a show where it's like about these magical girls, and it ends up going very dark.
Okay.
And I feel like if anybody listening has seen Medica Magica, I think it's gonna go a route not quite as dark as that, but similar. Where yeah, you've got to be right. They've already shown that there's consequences in the real world for what happens to them in the dream world.
Yeah.
So someone's going to die.
Oof. Oof. Now,
Or multiple people.
or multiple people. Yeah. I'm very curious. Ah, man, I'm so excited. So we got the story kind of idea. We love the animation and just I wanna talk about more what we think is what's gonna happen. So we like to try to predict the story. Yeah, we like to try to predict the story. Because one, we want to be better storytellers, and two, we like being right, but we're gonna be wrong. So all right, I want to hear your theories first.
I got to jump on this right here.
Okay, go.
So you know the counselor that's always visiting her?
Yes.
And you know how there was that one moment where her Ai's friend was hugging the counselor and she was crying?
Yep.
You've seen Life is Strange or played Life is Strange, right?
Vaguely.
You haven't played Life is Strange?
I think I remember it. I just don't know if I finished it.
Oh no! Oh, I was waiting to be like Life is Strange, and you to be like, oh, what? You think so?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I think it's been pretty heavy. Like,
I think the counselor's a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of leaned into the counselor might be a rapist.
Yeah, definitely somewhere, something along those lines. And I think he's only doing his best to keep tabs on I because he doesn't know if I knows anything.
I agree. I think the counselor is the main bad guy for her, or at least getting her friend back to life, because her friend, I think the counselor is what pushed the friend over. So they're obviously bullied, and you think that is going to be the struggle. But you know what they show is the friend handled the bullying fine. I think the friend didn't kill herself because of bullying. I think the friend killed herself because of the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bullying is I's thing. That's her personal thing she has to get over. As her friend, I think, was being taken advantage of, and she has to get over it. And that's why she killed herself. Because that's their personal journey. I don't think they would have the same personal journey. I think they have different journeys. And the counselor is definitely the cause for Ai's friend. What's her name? Koito.
Yeah.
For Koito killing herself.
I think you were 100% right.
So I do think he's the endgame boss. Kind of like how, have you seen Erased?
Yes.
Okay, so Erased, the teacher, was the endgame boss. He was this nice, good guy throughout the entire anime. Turns out he was the bad guy who was murdering the children.
Mm-hmm.
So,
spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. But I think that's where this is going. I think they're gonna meet another person or two so they can have an entourage. I think they're gonna have another good maybe couple episodes in like mid-season, episode 6. I think they're gonna go a little too heavy-handed into too many eggs or whatever. And
next episode, I think we're gonna meet the 4th character.
Right.
Because there's 4 eggs in the
Okay,
intro.
so there's one more main character then. There's a 4th character. I think they're gonna meet the 4th character. Then I think they're gonna have like an episode where they're doing really well, and then something terrible is gonna happen, and they're gonna have a real tragedy.
Yeah.
To overcome, and then they're gonna have a moment where they split off for an episode or two, probably, and then they'll get back together, and everyone's gonna have their endgame boss.
See, I think we're gonna get the 4th character, and then maybe we'll have one episode, maybe even not an episode, but a tragedy will happen where one of the characters will die, and then I think they're all just gonna be awkward with each other for the rest of it.
Think it's gonna happen that soon? I think it's gonna be a couple more episodes before we get that.
I don't know.
I don't think a character's gonna die. I think it's gonna
happen quicker.
I think they're gonna
I think one of the main characters is gonna die. No, I'm putting money on it.
Really?
One of the main characters.
Oh, we like to make bets here.
One of the main characters is gonna die.
One of the main characters. I think one of them's gonna be hospitalized. You think one of them's gonna die?
I mean, one of them's definitely gonna be hospitalized at some point, but there's gonna be a death.
See?
If there's no death, I'll be a little disappointed.
That's fair. Because narratively, that would make, I think, the strongest impact.
Yeah.
But it's also an anime.
But it's also already shown us it's got some dark parts to it.
True, but it's also showing hope.
See, but you haven't seen Medica Magica, so it's not a great example to bring up for you. But Medica Magica was another show where it did this little bit where it teased us with little dark moments. And because it was like this dark parody, or not parody, but a dark version of like the Magical Girl shows. And it just, every time where it started to give you moments where you're like, okay, I've got hope, then it would just be like, but, and then it would rip your heart out.
Interesting.
And I feel like this show won't get as dark, but it's gonna do that. It's gonna do it. It's gonna make you cry, Zio.
We'll see if I cry or not, Spen. But anyways, okay, so we talked about this anime. I love it. You love it. We're excited to see where it's gonna go. We have our theories.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best animes this season.
Do you think it's gonna make anime of the year? Is it too early to tell?
It's too early to tell, but it has potential.
Do you think it's going to be anime of the season?
It's going to be one of the top 3, maybe 2 contenders.
Okay. All right.
That's what I think. What do you think?
I think it's going to be this one or Jobless Reincarnation. I think both are fantastic animes in their own way. And it's going to be this one or Jobless that I think is going to be the best anime of the season. Possibly year, but there's a few more seasons to come. So,
well, yeah, it's just the start of February.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Either way, do you think it's a woo or boo? That's right, everybody. We're going back to that. We're doing the woo boo system.
The woo boo rating system.
Yeah.
It's a woo. It's 100% a woo.
Yeah. Mine's a woo.
Yeah, it's a good show. This one and Jobless are 2 of the top shows that I'm excited to watch.
Yes.
And every time I see it, I go for another episode.
Yes. I'm very excited, and I definitely think we should revisit these like mid-season and then maybe finale even. Definitely finale, maybe mid-season.
Oh man, even if we don't get to it right away, we're 100% doing another podcast where we talk about this show and its ending and stuff. Unless it ends up sucking.
It's true. It could be amazing until the end, and then it's just the worst trash ending ever.
Yeah.
What do you think? What does it have to do to be terrible? What do you think it has to do to be bad?
I don't think they're capable of making it bad. From what we've seen so far. So it's hard to say.
If for you to think, man, this show is garbage, what would be the thing they did that would make you hate it?
I think this is a terrible answer, but I don't think there's anything they could do that would, but oh man, I don't know.
Gotta be a better writer, Ben.
I can't see them doing anything with the show that would make me hate it. But
so you think no matter what they do?
Well, no, that's tough. The way I'm looking at it is from everything they've shown us with the show, I can't see it going in any direction that would go bad. Because I was thinking for a second, maybe if one of the girls rescued their friend early, and then that had some sort of, but I don't know. I think even if that happened, I have faith in them that they'd be able to write it out properly. I don't know. Honestly, I just have 100% faith in this show.
I think I'll be disappointed if it's a 100% happy ending.
I don't think I'd be disappointed. I wouldn't like it as much.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what do you think? You don't think it'd be disappointing? I would find that disappointing. Like, this show obviously has a lot to tell. It has a big story to follow. And I'm not saying it can't have a happy ending, but I meant like everything is perfect at the end. I feel like the best friend shouldn't come back to life because
I don't think they are.
Well, I understand. That's why I think it's about grief instead of like dealing with their own personal problems. I think it's about handling grief as well. So I think what's going to happen personally, she's going to get a chance to see her friend and say goodbye. Not bring her back to life, but say goodbye because her friend's going to pass on. And it's going to be her dealing with that grief of, coping with a dead friend. I would be disappointed if for whatever reason her friend actually came back to life. I know that's the mission and the goal, but I feel like it would kind of eliminate the importance of this story. Like, if they're trying to teach you how to deal with grief or even how to personally overcome your tragedies or your miscomings or your faults, like whichever theory you want to go with, you can't do that by giving them the impossible goal.
See, but yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, but if she rescues her friend, I'll be happy because then I'll be happy.
No, That's bad.
I'll be happy for I. No, it's not bad.
It is bad.
I'll be happy.
I think it would totally take
I like
away from the
happy
characters.
endings.
I like happy endings too, but I'm just saying it doesn't fit the story. So I
Well,
would be disappointed.
We don't think it would fit the story. I love the show so much. I have 100% faith in the writers that if they did that, I know they'd make it. They'd do it good. They do it well.
I don't know. We'll see. I love the show too, and I have faith that they'll do it well. But I'm just saying we have to come. I created the question.
I'm trying. I honestly.
I created the question to pose something we have to critically think about, and my process is I'm saying if the friend actually comes back to life, I will be disappointed.
I'll be okay with it.
Okay, you would be okay with it then.
I honestly can't think of anything that I would be disappointed.
Man,
that the
Spen,
show
you're
would
such
do.
a fanboy.
It's possible.
That's the Canadian in you. The guy who like tries to look in the good of a terrible anime like X-Arm, and you're like, I can't be disappointed ever by this show.
It's not. No, that's not it at all. I wanted to watch it because I actually stopped reading it, and I'm probably gonna watch one more episode and then I'll stop watching it.
I wasn't talking about X-Arm then. I was talking about Wonder Egg Priority. Can't be disappointed. That's what you said.
No, I
have faith
you mentioned
that they will
X-Arm.
never disappoint me, even though in this hypothetical question, they're supposed to disappoint you.
See, but I couldn't think of anything where they could disappoint me.
Okay. My goal is by next week, I'm going to come up with something that would disappoint you.
Okay.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. But yeah, Wonder Egg Priority. It's amazing, everybody. Go check it out if you haven't watched it yet. I don't know why you would listen to this entire podcast if you hadn't, but if you're interested, go check it out. It's on Funimation.
Funimation.
Yeah.
Where dreams happen.
And anime happens.
It's yeah, this show's amazing.
Okay.
If you don't watch this show, you're missing out.
Yes, you are.
Even if you don't like anime.
Mm-hmm.
6. I just wanted to throw his name in there because I felt like it was important.
Fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna cut it out, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So shall we move on?
I would love to move on because episode 7, 8, and 9 of Seraph of the End was also, I really liked it.
Really?
There's parts of it where I'm unhappy, but overall, I'm still enjoying the show.
Okay, see, I feel the opposite. I was pretty disappointed by these 3 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, I think it had good moments, but I think it's mostly bad.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right. So, for notes, we didn't write a whole lot of notes for this. Sped wrote, yeah, we got notes. And I just put cool. And then I said, this show still exists. We're still watching it. It's all right, I guess.
I thought you were just typing there, but now I know you actually meant it's all right, you guess.
Yeah. I think it started good. And I think it has good moments. One, I'm still standing by my theory that Gurren, voice actor, does not fit the character, and that he and the pink-haired guy need to flip. They need to flip voice actors. I hope that in episode 10 of this series, they magically change voice actors to each other's characters so they fit their character models better. Everybody, we're having technical difficulties. Spen's Discord went down. He thinks he lost internet, is what he is saying.
Oh,
are you back?
Hey! I guess my mom's upgrading our internet right now.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm back. I might cut out again.
Okay.
But I shouldn't.
Okay.
Do you remember the part where Gurren was on the roof on the 3rd episode? Or the 9th episode?
Yes.
That was the moment where I started to dislike his voice.
Oh, you're finally on board!
Yeah.
So, did you hear my rant at all about Gurren?
I heard you complain. I think I heard the start of it where you were talking about him and the the red-haired guy to switch.
Yeah.
I don't want them to do that. I want them to keep the voice that they have for the redhead guy, but I want them to. Gurren should be manlier.
Well, I feel like the redhead guy's voice is manlier than Gurren's.
It is.
It's more majestic and it's more leader worthy.
But I like the voice for him as the tough, as like
Well,
the
I
tough
think Gurren's
delinquent.
voice would fit him though, because that Gurren's voice can be that snarky, tough guy.
But it isn't generally. It's more laid back and casual.
Exactly, which fits the pink-haired guy.
I don't think so.
Yeah, what? I do.
I don't want the pink-haired guy to have that voice. I just want
All
that
right.
voice gone.
Whoever our new fact checker is, check those.
I heard the C that time.
All right, good. But anyways, yeah, I still hate the voice of Gurren. It's the absolute worst.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it anymore.
It's not good. But we'll talk about the episode. So episode 7, they have a new character.
Yes.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Mitsuba?
She's not.
It's
She's
Mitsuba.
annoying.
I think it's Mitsuba, yeah. Anyways, Mitsuba, because there has to be 5 members in a squad. And I hate her.
Because if there, what was it? If there's any less, then they usually get overwhelmed and die. And if there's any more,
it's confusing.
then yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, whatever.
Yep. And
But,
she's the worst. She's not great. I don't think she's compelling or interesting.
She didn't have a good introduction.
Yeah. She's just obnoxious. And they try to give you like a sappy story for her to make you relate to her or feel for her. And I think it falls flat.
Mm-hmm. It definitely did. I had more of an, I accepted her character after that, where I'm like, okay, so we know the reason why she's all aggressive about these things and all, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's my least favorite out of all of them.
She's also the most worthless. She has done pretty much nothing in the 3 episodes she's been in so far, other than be annoying and somebody who
I think she's the least powerful out of all of them, and I think they made it pretty obvious that that's what it is.
But it's a
contrast with her personality.
But they talk about her like she's supposed to whip these guys into shape with like leadership skills and stuff. But I don't even think she has leadership skills.
I believe they were being sarcastic to her about that.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like there's a bit of...
I feel it was a situation where they told her that because they were just like, all right, this is what we need to tell her so that she'll work well with this group.
No, see, that would be very like between the lines writing, and I don't think the show does that very well. So I don't think the acting in it is good enough to portray that. I think that's just looking into it.
But that's how I got it.
I didn't get it that way at all.
And like the facial expressions.
In the beginning, when she first introduced, she's like, "Oh, you clearly chose me to be the leader." And then he was very sarcastic with her then. That was the sarcastic moment. But then with Shiho, she is a sarcastic person. However, she also has like genuine like conversations. She just has that tone. So I think that wasn't a sarcastic thing towards her, because I think she would have reacted otherwise, but she took it very seriously.
See, I don't know. I feel she said it to her sarcastically, and she just kind of maybe not like 100% sarcastically, but more of along the lines of like, this is what she needs to be told so that she'll work with them. But at the same time, there's a little bit of truth to it where she has the experience being out in the world and being a part of different crews or whatever it is. So there are elements that she has that she can teach everyone.
I don't know. I just think she's worthless and only exists to become the future love interest of freaking Yuichiro.
It's not going to happen. She's going to be interested in him, but there's never going to be a romance between them.
You think?
100%.
Do you think there is going to be a romance period?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Okay.
If we get, I swear to God, Zoo, if we get like 3 or 4 cabin episodes in this anime, I'm just.
Are you saying cabin episodes because of Sword Art?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what I refer to whenever there's some stupid stuff in anime where they go out of their way to add relationship stuff that doesn't need to be there. I call it the cabin episodes.
Okay. Well, we already got our hot tub episode or a sauna episode, shower episode.
Oh, I skipped through that. I was watching it at lunch at work.
I already got that.
I was just like, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10.
There can't be a shonen anime without it. So it's got to be there. I guess most anime. There can't be most anime without that. So, but yeah, they're either at a freaking sauna or a beach, and they did the sauna thing. But yeah, I didn't like episode 7. It was very meh. Because then they went to like save a girl.
Well, that was at the start of episode 7. They went into that underground place to save the girl.
Yeah.
And then all that other stuff happened after.
I understand, but I'm saying like episode 7, I didn't like it.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I see what you're doing.
I was saying they went to save the girl. Turned out it was a trap, and then they went to go fight the vampires.
See, and I think that's a great example of they do have subtle stuff that you don't notice. And that the girl telling them they were asking the girl to give information. The girl didn't want to give information, but then they coerced her to giving it, but then she was afraid of saying stuff, so she only told them what she was supposed to say so that it would save her friends. So there is that like background subtle stuff happening. Maybe not like the greatest. I wasn't 100% satisfied with how they handled that.
I don't think so. I think, again, I don't think that the acting itself really led to that. They had to flashback to show us that's what happened. And when you do that, I feel like it kind of detracts because the character, it should be something noticeable or something you can catch on. Maybe this doesn't feel right.
But I was catching on that. When at the moment where they were asking the girl to give information and she wasn't giving it at first, I'm like, there was no reason for her not to tell them information about where the vampires were and how many there were.
I guess.
There was no reason for her not to say it.
All right, I'll give it to you for that, but I still don't think they were sarcastic with her. I don't think that was portrayed at all. I think you're just being nice to the anime.
Oh, okay.
Either way,
right.
I hated the fact that they confronted the vampires and they both decided to fall back. That was fucking stupid. It just, they're like, I'm gonna kill you. No, I'm gonna kill you. No, we need to fall back.
Well, no, because they went in there and then, God, I'm so bad with characters' names. The main guy killed the first 2 vampires.
No, that's after. That's after they fell back.
Really?
Yes. They saved the girl, then the 3 vampires showed up to stop them because it was an obvious trap. And he fell for the obvious trap. And so instead of getting punished for the obvious trap, they stared at each other like, oh, we're going to kill you. And then like, we need to fall back, guys. Even though we just got out here, we need to fall back. And the vampires like, we should fall back too for some reason.
So the vampires fell back because there was the part where he jumped in and he was wielding a sword and used that power. And they were like, oh shit, this guy's way more powerful than us. We need to get back. And for the others, the purple-haired girl, she was with the girl, and they had, when they mentioned falling back, the camera focused on her and the little girl, and it showed that they all were kind of looking at the little girl. So they're like, yeah, we can't have her here in the middle of these fights. So I feel it was fair for them to leave.
No, I understand the humans trying to fall back because they're in the disadvantage. The vampires didn't need to fall back. They weren't afraid. Again, that wasn't displayed. They weren't afraid. He was like, wow, he's faster than I thought. And then they were cocky
They
about
mentioned how powerful he was.
Yeah, but again, they weren't afraid. There wasn't a fear in their face. There was this, oh, he's more powerful than expected. And then they're like cocky trash talking. And...
Well, yeah, because they're vampires. These are just like fodder. They happened to cross some that are more powerful, so they wanted to make sure they had enough force to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because when he went and he used that move and he did that big move, like, yeah, maybe they didn't show fear, but they showed like visible, like a lot of surprise where they were just like, oh my God, all right, we might have gotten ourselves into a bit more than we can handle.
No, I don't think that happened either. I think it was just,
I feel like
I didn't expect that. And then that was it. That was literally it. There was nothing other than that. There's no...
No, you're 100% wrong.
No way. I don't remember that at all. I remember them going, that was unexpected. And then they moved on immediately.
No, that's not what happened. You must have fallen asleep again.
I wasn't even in bed. I was at my desk. I watched the entire thing. Either way, it was annoying. I hate conflict that doesn't actually have conflict.
I'm looking it up right now.
You look it up right now, then. Everyone, this is the live reenaction of him looking it up. And I say live, I mean it's recorded because you guys aren't seeing anything.
Well, it was live at the time of recording.
Live at the time of recording. I want to look it up too.
It was in episode
7. It was episode 7.
Yeah.
But we agree that Mitsuba's the worst, right? Like she's not a good character.
The yellow girl, the yellow-haired girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can both agree that she's my least favorite character. I am okay with her now.
You're okay with her now?
After the 9th episode, I'm okay with her being there. If someone came to me and said, we got to remove one of these characters, who's it got to be? I'm like, it's her. But if they didn't remove her, I'd be okay. They're going to add more character development, hopefully. Okay, here's the line that you need for it. At 1536, call for backup. Maybe we could capture them, call for backup. They didn't just leave for no reason. They want to capture these guys.
Hold up.
What part are you at?
I'm at 16 now.
Really? You haven't figured out how wrong you are yet, Zoo?
I'm not wrong. He says call for backup, we can capture them. He doesn't say let them go.
She says, how do they have cursed gear?
Yes.
He says there must be the extermination squad. Maybe
Call
we
for
can capture
backup.
them.
Maybe we
Call
can
for
capture
backup.
them. Exactly, but he doesn't say let them go or anything, right? Then she's like, oh, let's go. After he's like, no way, I'm gonna kill you now. And then they just taunt him. He's like, yeah, you better go. And then he's like, let's fall back. I don't know. It's dumb still. They created a pointless conflict that has no conflict.
You can tell that they're afraid of him because right at like 16
yes, they
minutes.
have moments where they're shocked, and yeah, one of them might be. Okay, you're right. One guy looked like he was kind of visibly afraid until the other vampire was like, "Oh, it's fine."
No, honestly, I think you're just looking for things to hate.
No, I'm not. I was really enjoying the anime. I just don't like these episodes. I think they're weak.
I felt that whole part fit fine.
I don't.
I didn't think it was weak.
It was an unnecessary conflict. One, they had the four horsemen.
The main
thing.
guy also has that part where he does like the combination with the demon, not up until this point here, and so they can see like the visible like scars coming up. These aren't like high level vampires, because they were even saying or no, maybe I'm mixing a part with them talking about
You're
weapons.
mixing with the end of like episode 9.
But like these guys, I don't think they're high leveled ones, because if they were high leveled ones, they wouldn't have said we need to call for backup, because we saw how powerful that the nobles are later on.
Okay, fine. You know what? Here's the deal. I'll throw in the towel for this dumbass argument, but it's coming right back up on episode 9. Because episode 9, they do it. They do a useless conflict that has no purpose.
All right, I'm excited when we get to that point to try and see what you have. Not to try and show you was wrong, but to try and understand and see it from your perspective. Unfortunately from here, I cannot.
Okay, fine. Misa was a bad character. She annoys me. I think what made me really... I think I kind of unfavorably dislike her. Mostly because I was really hoping, like, if they were going to introduce another character, it could be an adult. Like, this, I understand it's a shonen, but this world is full of children who are high-class soldiers, and it's driving me nuts. Because they clearly have adults, too. But then, obviously not the focus. It's just this whole point. I get it's because of the demographic they're pointing the anime to. But,
yeah, I guess
when they introduced
I expected it to be another young character.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting her, though. She was a bit of a disappointment.
Either way, like, I feel like
I think they wanted us to dislike her at first.
Huh?
I think they wanted us to dislike her.
Oh, well, I still dislike her. All right, they move on. Okay, we'll move on to episode 8. So they follow the advice of the girl, right? And that's when they go to save all these kids. And then they get cornered. by all the 8 vampires, right?
Yeah, because the more
'Cause-
of them come bursting in through the glass.
Because of the oh so subtle, you guys should go here because that's where they're at. So they get cornered. And another thing is, I know this was designed to show the power, but like these vampires died super easily. Like this wasn't even a fight, other than for Mitsuba, the terrible character who's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like the only person who struggled, I think, in that entire fight.
Yeah, she was also caught by surprise.
Yeah, but I feel like in every fight she's struggled. She just struggles every time they have a conflict.
I feel like it was done originally, or it was designed in a way where the person who created all of this wanted to show him as being powerful.
Yeah.
But they did it in a way that just made her come off as a useless character.
Yeah, and then that's when they kind of leaned into she starts to like him, where there's possible romance in there.
No, I think
because she had that fell into his arms thing, right? And then she started blushing, but he was completely like, I need to kill the vampires still.
But wasn't that all because of the purple-haired girl? With just like the little like funny, like at first it comes across as if it's like some sort of dialogue, like it's a narrator speaking to us, but then it pulls back and shows her the one saying it.
Well, yeah, but it was actually there. Like, because she pointed out in episode 7 too, when their girls were showering, how like they're perfect for each other.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I skipped through the shower part.
Yeah, so in that episode, the purple-haired girl talks about how perfect they are for each other. That's why I say she's gonna be the future romance.
Mm-hmm. I just hope there's no romance.
Yeah.
Talking about things that I think will ruin the show. If there's a romance between them.
But yeah,
no, there won't be a romance because he's too hard straight of a character, and they're gonna, in shows like this, they'll tease romances between lots of different characters because the fans love shipping things, but they're never gonna really push it unless it's like a romance or some sort of relationship is a key important part of the story.
Yeah. So I mean, they fight. They save these kids, and then they go on another mission or something. They meet a general. They go to head to a city for this general, and then they get attacked by, lo and behold, a noble vampire. The person you said that's so powerful and everything. Yet, we don't get to see how powerful he is because he decides, oh, I'm going to let you live this time and leave.
Well, I think the reason why it's like that is... the previous episode set it up for us to be like, wow, look how powerful our characters are, and for our characters to feel powerful, but then so that we know how our characters stand, where they're better than typical soldiers, because we saw the flashback with the yellow-haired girl showed us just how powerful the average fighters are. And then this shows us how much more powerful these characters are in the Demon Corps, or Demon, whatever, the Moon Demon Corps.
Squad. Yeah, whatever.
Squad. And so then we have all this thing where like, okay, wow, our main characters, they're very powerful. They're good at this. But then this is a part where it's kind of a cheap way of doing it, but it's a way to show, not actually, your characters aren't quite that powerful in the grand scheme of things. Now here's some motivation for the main character to... Instead of him always being like, I want to fight them, I want to kill them, now he's got something where he's like, okay, well, I guess I need to train and I need to be more powerful so that I can actually be able to do this.
Except they don't show it. It's not shown. The vehicle gets attacked. That's it. Mm-hmm. Then they have the confrontation of this Crowley guy, the noble Crowley, is like, haha, I'm a noble and I will kill you. And then they stare at each other, and then these two other vampires are like, Crowley, what are you doing? We got a meeting. And he's like, oh, you're right. Well, you get to live this time, guys. And then they peace out, basically. Like, that's it. But there's no conflict. There's no fight to show that this noble is stronger than our hero.
But there is a brief moment where just before he leaves and he appears behind the main character, the main character is just taken by surprise. So it shows that he could have killed all of them easily, instantly. But why would he need to worry about it? He's a vampire that's a noble, that's so powerful. These are just ants. He's toying with his food, essentially. He's looking forward to the next time he encounters them, because he just basically, he got to show them how powerful he is, and now he gets to walk away and then later on be like, hey, guess what, I'm back, and then just have fun toying with them. He doesn't care. They're ants. They're minuscule to him.
Yeah, I understand the mentality. It's still
But
does
I think
it.
the
It's not
whole
enough.
point of it,
It's not enough just to show it behind him. Like they just did it to introduce the character. That's all they did it for.
I disagree.
No, it's just to introduce Crowley.
It's not, though.
It is.
They did it to establish a situation where before we saw how powerful our characters are, and then this was to snap our main character back into the reality of, okay, I need to train, I need to get more powerful, I need to learn how to be stronger. And we saw that when he's in the van being driven around, and he's starting to ask, okay, how do I do these things? I need to get more powerful. How am I going to be able to stop the noble vampires? It wasn't much. It was very brief.
I think they could have still done better. So they also had those pills, right? They talked about if you eat a pill, you're 1.5 times stronger. Yeah, if you have 2, you're 1.8. They didn't use it. They should have used it. They should have had a moment where the vampire talks his trash. He does the speed thing and scares him. Yeah, it's a start to show, wow, this guy's fast. But that wasn't enough because what's his name? Freaking Yu is cocky and he wants to kill vampires. He should have attacked him. Then the guy should have hurt him. Then maybe you took a pill to fight him even more and still lost. The guy could still toy with him. But she explained
why it couldn't happen. Because it takes up to 10 seconds for them to kick in. And in that time, he could have killed every single one of them.
I understand. But again, it's they could have done all of this in a minute or less to show how powerful this vampire is, and they didn't. They literally did it to introduce this guy so we can have somebody that appears stronger, but they don't see it.
But we did see it.
No, you saw how fast he is. That's not appearing stronger. Yu's also super fast. That seems to surprise all vampires.
But he's way faster than you. And when characters in animes move like that, that's a show of strength. That's a show of their power.
It's a show of speed, but yeah.
But that's kind of what power is in this, because you just gotta cut them down before the other person.
I guess we're just gonna disagree because I think it was a pointless encounter. I don't.
Okay, well, so then if we didn't have that encounter, how does you get to the point where he's now realizing he can't just go out and kill all the vampires. He needs to get stronger.
That obviously would have to happen later. He would be cocky, continuously fighting vampires. Like, this is his first real experience fighting vampires. He was very successful the first time. So he continues on being successful. This encounter happens, but then it's actually an encounter. It's not a guy just standing there.
But he doesn't just stand there.
I understand.
Because what I think, because at the beginning he goes in to do an attack or whatever, and Yu comes in and he like knocks the sword out of the way. So it feels like Yu has the upper hand on him. Like maybe they're gonna be able to actually fight this guy, but then the guy does like the way they start talking about things and show things, it reveals that he's more powerful and he's a lot quicker, and they're not going to be able to fight him on his own. So then, I don't know. I feel like if they didn't do that there, then we would have got into the next couple fights with you, just being again overly cocky, ready to just jump in with everything. And I was really getting tired of that. I was done with him, doing all that. And sure, he's still going to be overly aggressive against vampires, but at least now,
which is the point I'm saying. Like, this didn't show. I'm watching it again right now.
Okay.
Just to kind of reinforce my thought, because I understand they have that conflict. The conflict you're talking about happened before all of this, though. Then they just stand and stare at each other. So Yu isn't being shown his place yet. So he talks about, hey, should we retreat? She's like, no, we need to fight at full power. And like they're preparing for a fight. And then it's
well, but she even said, even if we all fight at full power, we might not make it.
yeah,
Like,
she says it. But he's still cocky about this whole fight. He doesn't learn his lesson. He's getting ready for the fight. And then this girl's like, hey, Crowley, don't we have a meeting? And he's like, you're right. We got to go.
And then he does that thing where they're all facing forward. And the next thing you know, he's gone and they realize, oh shit, he's right behind us. Like, how did he do that?
I see it. I see the speed behind. He taps my shoulders and he gets scared. I understand it. But I still stick to my position of it's a pointless encounter. Like, I get the point of maybe pointless encounter is the wrong words I've been using. So
it could have been done
it's
in a more interesting way.
It's a bad encounter. I hate I'm the big boss, you can't defeat me, and now I'm going to leave. Like,
No, I get what you mean.
There should be consequences. There's literally no consequences.
See, but I feel like that encounter was never intended for there to be consequences. It was, as from a writing standpoint, it was put in there to give you a drive to figure out how to be more powerful instead of just a drive to kill vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was the only purpose of it.
Even with that, there still could be consequences.
You're right. There could.
Like, you could still do that. I feel like with an encounter like this...
But I feel it fits within the personality of the vampires, where it's like, these are just it's rabble, especially for the nobles. Who cares about these pathetic little pathetic ants?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if, I don't know if you've ever done this, but sometimes when like playing video games online in a competitive mode, if you're really, really good and you see that you're playing with beginners, you'll like do stuff to kind of like match, quotation marks, match how good they are, so that you can have fun playing with them, but still know that you're gonna be good. You're not gonna have a problem.
You mean taunt them? Toy with them?
Toy with them. That's because that's essentially what the vampire here is doing. He's toying with his snack, because it's a game for him. It's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing more than that.
I agree with that.
I 100% agree with you too, where this could have been done a lot more interesting.
It didn't feel satisfying at all. Like, I didn't get any interest in this bad guy. I saw him instantly and I was like, ugh, this guy. And then at the end of it, I just still felt like, ugh, this guy. He didn't feel threatening for me. He didn't feel intimidating. Like, I see that stuff.
I mean, it's possible too that I'm used to this kind of stuff from anime.
You're just more open and accepting of it, while I hate most of these tropes.
But I mean, I see that kind of stuff happen in anime all the time, where they introduce a character, so they bring in a goal, like a visible one, where our character, it's like our character wants to defeat him, and we know our character wants to defeat him. So it's like a threshold. That's not the right word for it, but it's like we now have like a target of like, okay, this is where we want the character to get up to.
Okay.
So it's something that we're kind of like rooting along with him now. So it's a lot of shows do this kind of thing.
I
with
understand.
Different characters. So it's probably why I'm just more okay to it, because I'm just used to it.
I mean, I completely get it, and I understand all of it. I just don't think. Still, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel enjoyable for me.
That's fine. I mean, there's nothing. I hope you know it. I was never once trying to say you're bad for feeling that way.
No, I completely understand that, man. I'm not offended by any means. You don't need to cater to my feelings.
No, well, I just want to make sure you know that I think you're 100% right with.
You never have to tell me that. I completely know. I'm allowed to think how I want.
I'm partially saying this for the people who aren't listening, so they don't think I'm just a jerk that's just trying to like shut down everything that you're talking about.
Spen, you're a jerk. But no, it's good. It's uh, I'm glad we have a different point of view because you at least bring me down to my pessimistic point of view of this show.
Because I mean, I got to this point, and this part here didn't make me dislike or like the show at all. But I think it's also because the end of the last episode, I was really into it. I'm like, I'm digging this show. Like, this is a good, solid show. And so I think because I watched them all, the last two episodes one after the other, I was still riding the high of the last episode for this part.
I mean, I watched them all right after another either, and I was just getting weary of it. Like I got one boost of energy in episode 9, and then I was like, the rest of it I just didn't care. I guess episode 9 was the most interesting, but these two episodes I just really didn't care. I hated the fifth character. I still don't like her. This interaction I still think was pointless. Like, I understand and you make valid points for what they are showing and creating a goal, but I think it could have been handled significantly better. I don't think they really truly showed his power. Like, they showed that he was better than everybody, and they showed he was really fast, but they didn't, like, I understand speed is relative to strength, but they still didn't show a confrontation where you was put in his place.
I think the only other thing I can add to that is because they didn't show him actually, or this new character, because they didn't show any of his abilities, it means that even when they go to fight for the first time, or maybe they'll have multiple encounters, but this next fight that they have, they know how powerful, or they have an idea of how powerful he is, but all of his abilities are still going to be a surprise to the characters. So then even if they become on equal ground with him, it still adds some like elements of
Yeah,
surprise.
I mean, they could still do that. They
things
could
like that.
only show his speed. Like, maybe he's too fast for them to hit, and he toys with all of them and makes them lose their weapons, or maybe he takes their weapons from them. It could be all kinds of stuff they could have done to make them lose a fight without, like, actually hurting them. That just shows the consequences of them thinking they can handle stuff and then going all out and realizing all out wasn't enough. They should have had an opportunity to go out and do something.
Well, if they had done that, I don't. They wouldn't have been able to jump into the next part so quickly because there would have had to have been down in recovery time. That's the other thing.
I guess.
Because they get to this point where they're outside the entrance to the. We're basically talking about the episode 9 here now.
Yeah, so it starts off with that whole like not Nazi, Jesus, that was bad. That was a bad thing. Not Nazi. What is it? Suicide bomber kind of thing where they crash the plane into the city.
Mm-hmm.
They take over a plane, they crash it into the city, and then they walk away because they can heal.
Yeah, they took out the section of the wall there, basically opening up the defenses.
Yeah, so the
anything
vampires
can get in now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clever as an attack. Oddly enough, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before, I hate the technology that this world is in. I don't like that the vampires are using mechanical instruments.
Why not?
It feels off and weird. It's just off-putting. So like them using
it's weird.
It's like they use the plane to crash is whatever. Like, I get that. I'm even moved on for that. But then it shows them in a helicopter.
Well, keep in mind too, the vampire. It hasn't been very long since the vampires took over. It's only been like 5 to 10 years, somewhere in between there. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
And when the disease came out, it's not like it destroyed society. So the vampires, however it is that they came in, they easily could have had themselves in a position to acquire all this stuff ahead of time.
I understand the world. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there. I'm saying I never realized it before this. And this is when it finally hit me. Like, I don't know why it didn't hit me when I saw vehicles and stuff, but like, this is when I realized it. And it's just strange because they dress up like some sort of 1500 era soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, then they have these helicopters and machines, and then the way you're just portrayed makes it feel like it should be older. And I almost feel like part of their personalities, they shouldn't use these things because they believe they're above humans, right? So maybe
Yeah,
they
it's
shouldn't.
kind of weird.
It's just a very off-putting feeling, and it really made me dislike the encounters because of that.
For me, I'm not a fan of them because I feel like if they had this technology, then the humans shouldn't have been a problem. But at the same time, I think it's possible that because the vampires are very arrogant. So
Yes.
I think the reason why it could have gotten to the point it's at is because they felt like the humans, there was no need for them to worry about them. But then the humans started to put up these defenses or whatever. And then maybe the vampires thought, well, okay, well, we got to do something. I guess we have to use this technology of theirs. So
I guess I
like
kind of wish that
it.
was portrayed, because I
Yeah.
get the cockiness and their point of view. And with that type of mentality, I feel like they would avoid any type of human materials, like
Mhm.
man-made machines and stuff they would view as like garbage and below them.
Because what we saw in that underground world is they had nothing like that there.
Right,
There
exactly.
was no technology.
And I think that's partially why I felt that way. I feel like maybe they think they're above that and yet they're using it. I kind of wish they just had a conversation, to at least a scene where they say we have to use this to fight back against the humans. Maybe they are actively against it and then they do it, but it doesn't go over that at all. It just, hey, we're in a helicopter now, let's shoot them. And it doesn't help that the helicopter's 3D on a 2D world, so it kind of stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, and it feels weird where they've got the helicopter, but then this curse grade weapons or curse grade bows are able to shoot it down. So it's this weird.
It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
It definitely, like, the whole that entire thing just felt really awkward for me. Now when we finally go back to Gurren and you get to meet his squad, that I liked. I'm
minus
interested.
his voice.
Yeah, minus his voice. I'm interested in his squad because I like the girl who uses her fist to fight.
Yeah, that was so cool.
She had a great intro, and I'm like, yeah, these are the people I want to watch, not these kids. And we get like 2 minutes with them. They just like, hey, I'm this character. I'm this character. I'm this character. And that's it.
Yeah.
So that's, like, I was really into that moment, and then I kind of got pulled out of it again. I do like how it ended, though. I do like that it's ending with a conflict between Gurren and Mika.
Remember how you thought Mika was gonna get killed? Or like the main character's gonna have to kill Mika?
Yeah.
You might be right. And I only say that, and I only say that now,
Yeah,
because of the stuff they were talking about, how when a vampire doesn't drink blood, they turn into those creatures.
yeah.
And Mika only has X amount of vials left, and he's hoping that he'll be able to find his friend before he runs out of blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're good. I think there's going to be close moments where they almost meet each other. But I think you're right. He's going to end up running out of blood, but because he doesn't want to drink human blood, he's going to turn into that thing, and then he's going to have to get killed. Before he turns into that thing, I'm sure there's going to be a conversation between them.
See, I'm interested. I'm fascinated that you take that point of view then, because now I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they are going to meet, and I think Mika is going to drink used blood.
See, I don't think Mika will be okay with that.
Well, no, he's going to resist. But I think what's going to happen is Mika's going to almost die, and I think Yu is going to throw himself on Mika, and he's going to drink. Mika's going to accidentally drink used blood.
Oh, the people trying to ship that would love that.
Exactly.
Genius. That's a perfect marketing strategy.
Anyways, I'm still interested. These were just some of my least favorite episodes. Like,
I don't know. There was something about episode 7 of these last 3 episodes. Episode 7, there was a moment where I came to a realization where I was really digging it, and that was while they were in the underground dealing with the vampires.
That was still my least enjoyable part.
Oh. Well, I'm glad I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it too. I think it started off really strong. Like, it had a really, really strong opening, and I think it's been slowly going downhill from there.
Yeah, it hasn't been going that way for me. It went uphill at episode 7, and then it's just kind of like hovered at a spot just below that.
We'll see. We're coming up to about a midway point of the season. So I'm curious what's going to happen.
I still don't think the bow guy's gonna die, which is great because
I think he's still gonna die at some point. Because Mika's not gonna die. Mika can't.
You have
die.
to hope he's gonna die, because then you lose the bet.
Huh? Oh yeah.
If he doesn't die, you lose the bet. So you have to hope he does.
Yeah, I mean, but he's going to.
No, I like how they split the group up, but at the same time, I don't like it. Just because I liked how well they all worked together once they were actually fighting. But
I don't think we got enough of it to really show that. We've got each character had one minor action scene.
Well, there were all moments where they were covering for each other, is what I meant.
Okay, yeah.
So they were starting to work together as a close knit group, and they were covering for each other, and I liked the bonding that they were having. But the splitting them up makes it so that even smaller things are more dangerous now, which it means that some of the conflicts coming up are going to be easier to write.
Yeah.
So maybe because what's the main guy's name again?
You,
okay. So because you and the purple-haired girl, they're going to be late getting back there. Maybe everybody else meets Mika, but then something happens and Mika gets away before you gets there. So they've all met Mika and they're like, he's a terrible guy. But because none of them know it's Mika or his name, they're all talking about these terrible vampires. And then, so it's going to be something neat for us to be able to be a part of, where we're like, no, they're his friends. They need to meet, but nobody knows.
No, see, that would be interesting. I don't think that's what I think they're going to meet in the next 3 episodes.
I hope they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
If they really want to drag on the relationship between the two of them and really push closer to Mika running out of blood and turning evil, I think they're not going to meet.
Okay, that's fair.
Either that, or he's gonna see you, and he's gonna not be able. He's gonna see that he's a part of the extermination thing and just not have the guts to go up and talk to him.
That's fair. That's fair. But at the same time, would he expect anything less?
I don't know. I'm really enjoying the show. It's not my favorite show I've ever seen, but I put it on one of the higher up ones so far.
It's about in the middle for me. I think it's got really good moments, but I think it still has a lot of potential. I just feel like they're making it started off completely. It started off so strong, and it caught me off guard. It did things I wasn't expecting, and now I feel like it's just doing more things that I kind of expect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I go into these shows, and I just I go in with a blank mind so that I can enjoy it. And I just try not to expect anything from shows. Then I analyze them after.
Well, I don't try to expect anything out of them. I was really excited to get into this because it was something new. I just have a hard time with certain types of animes, mostly shonen, and then shonen just. Mm-hmm. I think shonen just retreads a lot of stuff where they always have a conflict, and then you got to introduce this bad guy, and then the bad guy goes away, and you got to fight the bad guy again later, and then. I don't know. I feel like it's constantly doing the same thing, and then they also have all these tiny fights to show how strong. I get the points of it all. I just don't like it.
That's fair. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm a ramble. That's it. But that was a fun book club. I'm glad we finally got to it a day late.
Yeah, man, this was my favorite 3 episodes to talk about so far.
Yeah, it was definitely. It's
Most
definitely
of them
the
we've
most.
agreed on everything until here.
Yeah, that's true. We're pretty divisive. I'm curious how it's going to go for the next three because it's kind of like a mid-season situation. Because a lot of these animes like to do 12 episodes and then it almost like a season 2, another 12 episodes.
Yeah. I guess next week we'll have to decide if we want to keep going with it or do something else in between.
Yeah,
But I
that's
guess it all
fair.
depends on how they end it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We'll determine if we continue or not.
If we don't continue it now, I feel like it's something or if we don't continue it after next week, I think we'll come back to it eventually.
Maybe we will find out.